We're going to start with number 4, Miami at Georgia Tech, noon on ESPN. Miami's an 11-point favorite. The biggest question with this game is Haynes King's status. I watched Brent Key when he addressed the media about this, and Mac, he literally did this emoji. He even said, "I'm doing the shrug emoji." So I felt like he was playing it a little coy, right? But he said he's been out of practice. He's day to day. I think he's going to play. I think that you are going to have to restrain Haynes King from playing. Like, you'd have to physically keep him off the field. That guy's going to play. Right. I feel good about it. I don't have any information, but I feel like he's going to play.
I think, it's one of those things where you don't have to tell, so why not tell? And honestly, I would even be a little more, unless you just like the gamesmanship, I'd just probably be like, we don't know, we'll see.
Yeah.
Like every week about anybody, because you don't have to tell. You don't have to say anything.
Especially a guy like Haynes King, when you're playing Miami, I would be like, it's not looking good, guys. Like, and this sounds just so bad because we don't condone lying, but
right.
It's not looking good. He's
all three guys have practiced really well this week. All three guys have been at practice. He's on crutches.
Like,
this guy's been wheeling out, limping out to practice every day, but he's been there.
And then he just shows
comes in and lights up for 400 yards.
We don't condone this, but I feel like some coaches might start doing this, but I do think he's going to play. Yeah. Miami is 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 meetings against Georgia Tech. It's very interesting. They, of course, lost last year in an absolutely crazy scenario. 5 of the last 6 games in this series have been decided by 7 points or less. So when you look at that number and you see 11, that is interesting. Georgia Tech is 5-1 against nationally ranked ACC teams under Brent Key. They beat number 17 Miami last year, but Georgia Tech as a program hasn't beaten a top 5 team in like forever. So there's all that. What are your initial thoughts on this game, Mac?
Yeah, I think really, it's hard to give any like real life analysis on Georgia Tech without knowing who's the QB. We've seen 3 go. We've seen 3 very different styles of play. And you're just like, okay, well, here's what it'll look like with this guy. Here's what it'll look like here. And, it's one of those things where, I hope Haynes can go because he's such a great player. He is truly an eraser. He makes you better. He hides things. He's elusive. He can run the ball extremely well. Continue to want to see him when available, to push the ball downfield to those great speedy wide receivers. And this, quite frankly, if we're being real, is a great game to have your best option because you're probably going to be able to score. You're probably going to be able to move the football, run it, pass it, whatever you want, against this defense for Miami that has been reaching and struggling, in the last couple of weeks to stop people. Now, they've had flashes, like the second half against Duke was obviously much better than the first, but still giving up a ton of points. And so, to me, KG, it's one of those things where you just don't know, with Georgia Tech. They've obviously had some time going into this. We haven't seen Haynes in a long time. So how is he going to be? Is there rust at all? Or if he does go, is he full steam ahead? On the other side with Miami, listen, we just spoke to Restrepo. We spoke to Cam the week before. Like, these dudes are hungry. And, they're not letting that complacency creep in. They understand what's at stake. And Cam Ward is the best player in the country. He's the best, quarterback in the country. And I think he's going to continue to have a big day where he's pushing the ball downfield, getting it to all his receivers. I've been very impressed with the tight end play, not just Arroyo, who is I think, the war daddy, but other guys stepping up. There's like 4 tight ends that they use in a lot of different ways. We saw a true freshman last week run it in for a touchdown, catch a kick return and run it. I'm sure he is going to be more and more implemented into this offense because Mario Cristobal has called him, one of the most impressive freshmen he's ever seen, which is saying a lot. So I'm excited about that team, excited about this offensive line. It feels like finally health is starting to come together. We've slid Jalen Rivers to the inside, which I love. I think he's going to be a great NFL guard. And it just seems like you have your best 5 out there. And then, of course, the running attack from Mark Fletcher and Damian Martinez is electric. Those two, having that 1-2 punch is really, really fun. So the Canes offensively, can go nuclear at any time. It's just will we see that defense step up some? What does it mean? What does it look like? In regards to this number, it's tricky, really tricky.
It's
I
kind of
think the
small.
Canes cover. It's kind of small. I think the Canes cover. I'll leave it at that. Even if Haynes King plays, I think the Canes cover because I mean 2 touchdowns. I mean that's Miami can score 2 touchdowns in 50 seconds. Like it's crazy how quick they can move the ball. So I'm going to go with the Canes here. I think they're playing at a high level, especially offensively.
Yeah, I feel like that number is a little too low. And this is a noon game. Noon game benefits road team. Haynes King, we'll see. I think he's going to play. But again, even if he does play, how healthy is he? That's the question. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, Mac, would you say this is the worst defense Miami's played in a minute? When you compare it to Duke's, probably. Florida State's, Louisville's, even though they scored 52 on Louisville, Cal with all the turnovers they're forcing. The Georgia Tech defense worries me. I think this game, because of the Georgia Tech defense, could get a little out of hand. But then on the flip side, Miami's allowing 32.4 points per game in ACC play. Only Wake Forest, NC State, and Stanford are worse. Mac, I don't think your defense could lose you this game. I don't think it could lose you the Wake Forest game. I don't think it could lose you the Syracuse game. But is the defense good enough to win a natty? I think that's a fair question right now.
Well, how about this? I think the offense is like score 60, we'll score 61. You know, that's how I'm kind of looking at, these guys right now and just the things that, they're kind of doing. But I mean, you're right. When you see the fact that what, Georgia Tech's been doing, points wise, it's been good. It's been fine. They're only giving up like 20 something points per game. Georgia Tech is, but it's just the yards, and it's teams being able to,
and against a team like Miami.
Yeah.
It's going to be different.
So, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what they do and just, how do they capitalize? Because it's just a different beast coming in here, right? Like when Miami steps on the field, it's just they're monsters, and it's something you got to deal with.
I'm going to take Miami to cover as well. I think Miami covers here. We agree on that one, Mac.
Good.
Oh, by the way, let's get Underdog Fantasy in here. Use our code GMPOD. Ooh. The easiest place to play fantasy sports. I wanted to look at the Miami, Georgia Tech, and some of the plays that are on here. They have Cam Ward. There's no Haynes King. He's not even an option right now. So this is recording this on Thursday. Take that as you will. He might pop up on a Saturday, so you can stay tuned for that. And our guy Restrepo, his number's at 89.5 receiving yards. And of course, you can always take him higher on a touchdown at 0.5. Yeah, if Underdog was brave enough, they'd put that at 1.5. But I think a lot of people would probably take lower. And then you've got a lot of different Georgia Tech players on here. Cam Ward, his passing numbers at 319.5 and passing TDs at 2.5. It's basically at that for every game. Longest completion, 46.5. I would lean higher the 319.5 passing yards for Cam Ward against this Georgia Tech defense.
Yeah, I'm with that too. I'm going back to Trusty Rusty. Restrepo scoring a touchdown. Like just go higher there. It's not giving you a ton of odds, but if you have like if you feel good about a couple of runs there, just throw it in there. It's added value there. Yeah. Again, I think the running attack, the things that they're going to be able to do is going to be impressive there. Again, you got to choose though, and you're betting against one another. Like if you think Fletcher's going to have the yardage, then you're kind of saying maybe Martinez won't.
Mac, this is weird. I do not see a Miami running back on here. I just see Arroyo, Restrepo, and Jacoby George. So maybe Underdog.
I think it's because it's early. I think it's because it's early.
Underdog probably gets stressed out because you don't know which Miami running back is going to hurt you. You just don't know.
Exactly. They're sitting here looking like, oh my goodness,
they're like, I don't know which one
what are we going to do here?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that is one of the things. And then, what's going to be interesting is, do you like Cam Ward higher, than the number there, which I think, what is it, 319?
319.
Is that where it is?
I do.
Yeah. Do you like that? So, Georgia Tech has the 5th best passing defense in the ACC. They're only giving up 230 a game, So it's one of those things. I told you against Florida State, that was an issue. It was an issue. They're number one. They're still number one. You think higher? We'll see.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. I think Georgia Tech certainly hasn't seen a quarterback like this, so we'll see what happens there, but that might be the play too.
Okay, we spent a good amount of time there on Miami.